Wow, everybody, this is a big, big day. Today is the 26th of January, 2024, and our astral projection teams, it appears, this is a tentative claim, but I think we've done it. I think we've taken down the matrix. Now, this is work we've been working towards for the last 2-3 years, and we've had help from some absolutely incredible people. Our teams are made up of some amazing individuals. And I think we've done something that changes, well, I call it the magical wind or the magical air that we all breathe, or it's changed the tide for the emotional, political context of Earth. Like the Matrix is, I suspect the Matrix is dead. I think we've shut it all down. It's a project that spanned a few different weeks and a few different missions from different groups. But I suspect that we've completed this task once and for all. Now, I want to do a more complete presentation, a more detailed presentation. So please give me a few days to put all of that material together and get all the slides and lectures and diagrams so that I can offer you a proper picture of what we've done and why it's important. But for now, I will show you a lecture from last year that says, what is the Matrix? And it took us a long time to actually figure out precisely what the Matrix is. And now, after we've had victory after victory in our astral projection work, we finally got through to like the cornerstone of what keeps the cabal in place. And that is this matrix. So I'm going to show you this next video, which is a year old, this research, and it comes from another video here, which is 45 minutes that explains the situation that the whole Earth is actually in and why this matrix is important. For now, like, enjoy my little 15 minutes on what is the matrix. And at the end, I'm really going to recommend that you watch my other video, The Absolute Solution to All the Craziness on Earth. But for now, enjoy.
Now, the black cube is a very, very important technology to the Great Nothing. It's the thing that they use to manipulate the minds of their prey. So that instead of fighting them as they should, they walk goofily into the gaping maw of the monster. That's what it's for, and I've got a lot to say about it. Now, I've found this on the internet about black cubes, and it says the black cube of Saturn, it's not a Saturnian cube, but the Great Nothing has put a black cube station on Saturn, Saturn being the planet that holds the rules for the game in our solar system for law and authority and finance. And so it's critically important to them, to the ruling case, that they control that the concepts around that can be manipulated by the black cube. And you have something called the Saturn moon matrix. They have one of these black cubes on Saturn, another one under the surface of the moon, and they're they're installing lots of little ones here on Earth, but we hunt them down and we destroy them because they're a really big problem. The Saturn moon matrix at this stage has been, we say tentatively, it has been destroyed. It may be rehabilitated, but we've deleted it out of our existence for now. We don't know, and the battle goes on. We'll see if they try and recover it and try and rebuild their infrastructure there. But see, the black cube is not a new thing. It's been around for a long time, which tells us also that that the Great Nothing has had its eye on Earth for all of history, we think. Let me talk about black cube philosophy, right? We definitely wanted to understand the black cube. And the black cube is best understood as a labyrinth. It's a labyrinth of ideas. And once you get into it, you sort of bounce from one idea to the next, to the next, to the next, to the next, back and forth all over the place, but you never, ever exit. And most people don't understand that they're caught in this ideological trap, that the barriers of the ideology, of the ideas are set, and it's very, very hard to get out of it. even worse, the ideas change over time, and so the map of the labyrinth is also changes. And funnily enough, there's also a place within the black cube concept trap called outside the matrix. And this is for people who understand the matrix enough to hate it. These are the people who are anti-government. These are people who are anti-corporate, these kinds of, anyone who goes to a protest is in the zone, right, called the place outside of the matrix, which is still within the matrix of this black cube. But think of it kind of like somebody who's been in a cult and they ran away and they got away. And then, but they still talk about the cult, they're still obsessed with the cult, everything, they orient all their thoughts on the cult, because to some degree, part of them is still there. This is what's happening with our culture. You know, nowadays we can say you're either for the matrix or against the matrix, but all of that is still is still primarily oriented. The north of your compass is about the matrix. And sadly, it's kind of ours too, but at least we understand that that's happening. They've embedded this in, and this is one of the pillars of the matrix that's in every single person. But I want to describe the modern matrix to you, all right? There are 5 pillars to this matrix. The first one is slavery. We are enslaved to the point that we don't even talk about it. It's so baseline, it's so fundamental that we don't even discuss slavery unless you're part of the common law groups or you're studying non-university law. What you'll find is that the birth certificate is actually a contract that sells you to the government. Your body that you just sold to the government, that you just registered with the government, then gets converted into capital. It has a monetary value given to it, and then that money is then traded, and that's what keeps the system going, because the black cube has nothing to offer except trickery. Common lawyers will tell that part of the story much more clearly than I will. If you know it, that's great. If you don't, it's worth investigating. But we are slaves to the point where as soon as we're born, our parents tell us what to do. When we're older, we go to school and the schoolmaster tells us what to do. And then as an adult, at any time the police can tell us what to do, or the government can tell us what to do, and the tax office can come and steal our money, and on the list goes, with all of the limitations, all of the claims that they have on you, because little is it understood that we are actually owned by them. And this is one of the pillars of the matrix, is that we have to work our ass off just to live here, just to exist. And the second pillar of the matrix is individualism or solitude. You are alone. You are not part of, you are, in the eyes of the law, in the eyes of the matrix, you are an individual. You are single. You are apart from everybody else. And there's lots and lots of cultural features that promote this. You might, every single division, be it under the race or sexuality or gender or creed or religion or belief system, do you vote for the Democrats or the Republicans, whatever it is. Each of these is partitioning humankind again and again with the idea of creating entirely isolation. This is one of the pillars of the matrix. You're a slave and you're on your own. Third one is scarcity. There's not enough stuff for everybody. And that is not true either. We are living on a planet of mega abundance. Every element on the periodic table is here. All the food that we could ever hope for can be grown here. All the housing that we would ever need, there's plenty of materials for it. But no, there are still people who don't get to eat, and there are still people who don't have a house. And this is such a fundamental failure of what's possible on this planet. This is the rulership of our planet is clearly not performing if it fails to manage those functions adequately. It's pathetic. But if you're a monster from across the universe and you want to manipulate the locals who are spiritually underdeveloped, then telling them there's not enough stuff is a good idea. And the whole purpose of having people not eating and being homeless is so that, you know, people who see that will work just a little bit harder to make sure that doesn't happen to them. That's the nightmare. That's the example of what could happen to you if you're not a good slave and you don't work hard. That's what that's for. Scarcity is a rort. There's plenty of everything for everybody. They complain that our planet is reaching over carrying capacity, but that's not true. If it was managed properly, then we could probably double them. I don't know the numbers, but it wouldn't be a problem if we managed this planet properly so that it could look after all the people that we want it to. The next pillar of the matrix is hurry, not enough time. Like between working and family and bills and tax and friends and looking after them and getting the car maintained and then like it's constant. Like there's not enough time to relax, and there's definitely not enough time to build good relationships with the people around you. You're too damn busy. It's just how it is. And this is a construct of the matrix. And we have a much larger theory of time and how time is used on planet Earth, but it's a little bit more esoteric than this, right? It's kind of off topic, it's a tangent, but we know that time is one of the tools that the great nothing is using against us. And the fifth one is you will never get what you want. You see, one of the things in the matrix is the promise that never gets delivered. You become the donkey with the carrot dangling in front of you that you keep working towards, you keep charging forward forever and ever. And nowadays, I know in Australia and in most of the world, I assume, if you are an average Joe and you work hard for your whole life, you will never be able to buy a house. You can't even get yourself a house to live in, somewhere stable enough as that. It's kind of pathetic. And, you know, they promise career, they promise family, they promise love. But in this world, those things are really hard to create because you're a slave, you're on your own. There's not enough for everybody, and there's not enough time to make it all happen. So you don't get what you want. And this is where it gets really interesting, because there is a way to cheat the matrix. But again, this is within the confines of the matrix. And I'm going to introduce the deity Moloch. And he says, who is Moloch? And when Alex Jones broke into Bohemian Grove and took photos of the Illuminati in front of a big fire, worshipping a 25-foot owl, they were doing a ceremony to Moloch, because Moloch is fundamental to who they are and what they do. You see, Moloch, when I spoke to him and we did a channeling of him, he called himself a trader. And what does he trade? He trades morality for power and money. If you're living in a world where there's not enough and you've got to work hard to get ahead and there's lots of competition and you've got to do something special to get ahead, to make things happen, this is where you deal with Moloch. And what does Moloch trade? He trades morality for stuff. He trades morality for money and power. And what he wants is in order for you to break the surface and get ahead of your contemporaries, you make a deal with the devil. You do something underhanded. You fall into one of those 7 sephirots of greed, envy, gluttony, sloth, etc. You fall into one of those and you cheat. You stab one of your contemporaries in the back. You do something nasty. You get underhanded. You pay the bribe. You get that guy shut down. You get that guy bothered by the council or the government or whatever, or the police or whatever it is. But you do something cheeky and nasty, and you are rewarded by this matrix for doing that. Moloch makes sure of it. Moloch is the deity that makes sure you do. But the whole point of this is that because you broke your purity and your good name and your good behavior, you have created loosh, and that pain and that guilt will stay with you forever. And that loosh feeds back to the great nothing. This is the purpose of the matrix, to squeeze you so you do something desperate. And when you do something desperate, that's when they win. And history is littered with people who have sold out in this way. This is what the matrix is for. We do have an answer.